Good evening and welcome to the June 8th, 2021, 6:15 p.m. open session meeting of the Ayer Planning Board. I get to read, soon we won't be reading this anymore, but from the governor. Due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, Governor Baker issued an emergency order temporarily suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law. Public bodies otherwise governed by the open meeting law are temporarily relieved from the requirement that meetings be held in public places, open and physically accessible to the public, so long as measures are taken to ensure public access to the body's deliberations through adequate alternative means. This meeting will be broadcast live on Channel 8 and on Zoom. The public may participate remotely by following the call-in information on the bottom of the screen, of the live broadcast screen. For the Zoom meeting information relating to remote participation, please contact Cindy Knox, IT Director, at 978-772-8220, extension 150, or Heather Hampson, Administrative Coordinator, at hhampson@ayerma.us, or 978-772-8220, extension 144, prior to the meeting. Thank you very much for. So our first order of business is to approve the agenda, please. May I have a motion?
Make a motion that we approve the agenda for the June 8th, 2021 meeting of the Ayer Planning Board.
Thank you, Mr. Krantz. Do we have a second, please?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Diskin. Do we have any discussion on the agenda from the members? Or Mark? Hearing none. Mr. Krantz, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. King, please.
Aye.
Mr. Diskin?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Next on our agenda is a covenant of bond release. We have none this evening, so that gets us right to our first order of business. The continued public hearing, definitive subdivision, Washington Street, Panther Place.
You need a motion to continue?
Yes, please.
And can I do all three at once, or do we have to do each one separately?
We will be discussing all three items interrelated, so I would appreciate opening them all up now.
Excellent. I'd like to
I
make
think-
a motion. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say, I think that'll help the applicant also, so thank you.
Yes, absolutely. I'd like to make a motion to continue the public hearing for the definitive subdivision plan, the stormwater management permit, and the land clearing and grading for Washington Street, Panther Place.
Thank you. Do we have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. King. Any discussion from the board on this?
It wasn't, can we clarify what those, I thought one of them was the site clearing rather than grading. Like 9.6.
Yes, I'm sorry. It reads, and let me read the whole thing just so we're clear. Continue the site plan review, Ayer zoning plan bylaw section 9.6, land clearing and grading for
Okay.
Washington Street, Panther Place. Thank you, Mr. Diskin. Do you consider that friendly, Mr. Krantz?
Fine.
Thank you. Mr. King, how do you vote?
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Krantz.
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Diskin.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Thank you, Mr. Diskin. Nice to see all your faces. Who's here for the proponent, please?
So I will lead off. This is Larry Beal speaking. And just when I thought everything was going very smoothly, the internet went down in our office. So I have called you on my cell phone. And I'm assuming you can hear me okay?
We can hear you and see you. There may be some lag, but that might be because I'm in the hinterlands of Vermont at my end. But keep going until someone complains, please.
Well, you're fortunate. So what I was going to suggest is until I get my internet back, I'll operate on the phone. Ben Enos is with me, an engineer from my office. And I'm assuming, Ben, that you have a connection and that you can run the PowerPoint if you share your screen. That loud bark was not Ben, that was his dog.
You sure?
Oh, you never know.
Ben's laughing so hard he can't respond, but I think he said yes. Correct, Ben?
Okay. We
When you-
can, man,
Oh,
either.
but I think Ben is still on mute though.
Yeah, Ben, you're speaking, but we can't hear you, though mute is off. And I thought I was going to have the difficulty up here.
Can you guys hear me okay now?
Yes, thank you, Ben. Mhm.
So why don't I get started and I'll try to roll through this as best we can. Ben, do you want to share your screen?
Thank you. And while Ben's doing this, I'm going to once again ask people not to stand on decorum, but if you have a comment to make, please make it, because once we share a screen, I can't see who's in the room. I can't keep track of everybody.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay, you want to go back up to the first slide, Ben? Okay, great. So I will start, and Ben, if I go silent, you pick it up and go. And I apologize. I'm in downtown Boston. You would think that we would have pretty good internet service, but Comcast seems to differ with that. This is our second public hearing. It's for the definitive subdivision that we call 0 Washington Street. And for anybody new that's not acquainted where the site is, this is an air photo that shows that we're directly across from the high school. North is to the top of the plan. The site generally slopes from the south on Washington Street to the north across the power lines down to a wetland resource area that is significant because it's also habitats, endangered species habitat. So Ben, let's go to the next slide. And okay, I've got it up on my screen too. Just to refresh people's memories, this is the open space residential development plan that we created. We discussed it last week. We've rotated the view so that Washington Street is on the right-hand side of the drawing. The power lines and the rare and endangered species habitat is on the left-hand side of the drawing. Moore Drive are the houses across the top of the plan. And this plan shows the 26 OSRD lots and 2 A&R lots. Ben, if you can just maybe use your cursor to show where those lots are. Thank you. There's 2 A&R lots that have frontage on Washington Street. The open space is located on the left of this plan or the northern portion of the property, and the rare and endangered species habitat is shown in the orange line. And because the board has seen these multiple times, I'm going to move through it efficiently so that we don't reiterate everything that's been said in the past. I think we're all equally familiar with this site. So if we can go to the next one, Ben. This is a graphic that we put together to show the preserved open space, and it totals 11.15 acres. So everything that is cross-hatched in orange is open space that will be preserved in perpetuity. We have provided deeded access to it, and that's the strip of land connecting the cul-de-sac, the northern cul-de-sac, to the balance of the land. And a question was asked earlier about, of that 11.15 acres, how much of that is in the proposed easement area. So we provided the calculations at the bottom of this drawing so that the proposed easement area is 22,000 square feet, or it's about 2.5% of the lot area. So the remaining open space, if you exclude the easement, constitutes 52.5%. Ben, let's move to.
Jeff, if I could ask Larry a quick question.
Yes.
Since I was the one that flagged this earlier. Larry, that area, the 22,831 square feet, is that both the drainage and the sewer easement together? Because they're separated out on the plan sheet. So I just wanted to.
Ben, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that's the entire easement area of the drainage and the sewerage, because they overlap to some extent.
Right. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that it's both, because when I emailed, I forgot to mention it's both the drainage and the sewer. Just wanted to make sure that we have the correct number.
Well, we took the bigger view. As your key word was easement, so we knew what your
Right.
point was.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
Okay. Then let's advance to the next one. There was a really good suggestion made at the last meeting that meshed very nicely with a comment from the DPW director about putting the sidewalk on the west side of the roadway. So this is an enlargement of the area of the entrance roadway coming off of Washington Street. The abutting residences are located to the bottom of the drawing or the south of the site. And we have the parking facility next to the mailbox as shown. Ben, if you could trace that with your cursor. And then I wished we'd thought of it, but we didn't. The suggestion was made last week that we continue that sidewalk heading south along Washington Street and then connect to a crossing and propose a crossing where anybody walking along the sidewalk from our subdivision can cross and then connect immediately to a sidewalk going up to the high school. So that is a revision that we've made to the plan. Ben, let's move to the next one. And what we tried to do is make this drawing maybe a little bit more clear. So we added the blue arrows to show the direction of flow. And I think everybody probably recalls that we tried to simplify the system. We tried to minimize the number of structures that we used. So when you enter in from Washington Street, there is flow that flows in the pavement and is caught by a couple of catch basins at the intersection with the smaller cul-de-sac. And that continues to head in a northerly direction into a rain garden in the center of the cul-de-sac, the northern cul-de-sac. And for clarity, we labeled the rain garden as RG. And then we have the inlets that allow water to flow from the paved surface into the rain garden, highlighted in red. And so you can see that there's two structures in each cul-de-sac that allow runoff to flow from the paved surfaces into the rain gardens. And the purpose of the rain garden is to infiltrate the stormwater runoff, which is a good system because it provides constant recharge to the wetland systems, as opposed to, having a storm conveying the runoff quickly to the detention areas and then losing it from the wetland system. So we're recharging a lot of the surface water back into the ground that we're catching with the pavement. We provided a overflow from the rain garden that's shown in green. That pipe conveys it down to a fairly long linear detention area, which we purposely designed to be lengthy and shallow, so that it floods with about a foot of water. It detains, it infiltrates, and it provides a lot of biogeochemical renovation of the stormwater before it actually overtops and goes down into the wetlands. And we've had good experience with that. Around the larger cul-de-sac to the north, we have the curb inlets that direct water into the rain garden. And then one of the comments from the DPW was that we should provide an overflow from that area down into the northern detention areas. So on the northwest side, we have the same sort of long, thin, shallow swale to infiltrate and detain the stormwater. And then in the northeast corner, we have a pond. And if my recollection is correct, the linear detention basins flood to about a depth of 1 foot, and then the rounder or the triangular detention basin floods to a depth of 2 feet. And then the blue lines just simply show if the plan is, if the subdivision is constructed in accordance with this plan, then that's the direction of flow across the landscape.
Thank you. Larry, excuse me. I just want to ask one quick question. The rain garden on the large cul-de-sac, it's hard for me to see on my screen because it's small. You have an underground pipe that's feeding the linear pond on the back, And then you're going to build a swale above that pipe for overflow back to that pond?
Yeah, Ben, can you enlarge that perhaps so that Jeff can see it a little bit more clearly?
Appreciate it. I don't have my large capacity monitor with me, unfortunately.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, it's now a series of, yeah. So I think what you said is, so overflow is just gonna be handled on the surface though, in a swale?
No, no. You see, there is you see a green line going from the rain garden
Mhm.
in a northerly direction through the access easement.
Yes,
That's below surface.
got it. And then
And
I was confused. Okay, it's the linear garden in the back. That's the long swale you were talking about.
correct.
Thank you. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I'm sorry. And okay. And the land continues to slope down off the back of the property there, doesn't it? Past
Correct.
to the north swale. Okay, so if that were to fill, the expectation is it would slop. I hate to use the word slop over, but it would release itself into the northern section of the wetland of the area.
Correct.
Thank
Correct.
you.
And we originally did not include that pipe connection from the rain garden because it has the capacity to handle a 100-year storm event. The DPW director and the town engineer commented that they would like to see a piped connection just in case. And so, we didn't have a compelling argument against that. So we added the pipe in to satisfy that comment, to address it.
Yeah, thank you. It seems like this would be the right time to do it also. So thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Ben, why don't we move to the next one? Okay, and then this is a graphic that we showed you last time, so that on the left-hand side are the curb inlet pretreatment devices that we're proposing in the cul-de-sacs. And then we have a schematic on the right of the rain garden where water is discharged into it. And then there's different layers, different strata of soils and infiltration media that allows the surface water flows into the rain garden. It sits on the surface, it infiltrates, and it eventually recharges the groundwater table. So it's a pretty simple system, very dependent on gravity, but gravity seems to work quite well. And we've been through this before, so this is really our last slide. And Jeff, I think I'd like to turn it back to you and we'll answer any questions. Oh, let me say one more thing. The town engineer and the DPW director provided a very comprehensive review. We ran through all their comments. There's nothing that we're refuting or there's nothing that we have a problem with. So we are in the process of revising the plans to address their comments. What we thought made a good idea, and there was a suggestion by Mark that we not continually revise the plans and keep sending new prints to the DPW. Inevitably, somebody misses an iteration and maybe the wrong set gets approved. So we wanted to hold the plan revisions until this meeting to see if there's any additional comments from the board. But we did respond to the letter, and it's a pretty simple response. It's mostly saying we agree with this, we agree with that. So we do plan to address all those comments, and we hope to do that over the next couple of weeks. And hopefully at that point we would come back to you with a letter from the DPW and the town engineer saying that their comments are satisfied.
Thank you. Thank you very much for adding that, Larry. What I'd like to do now, if open it to the board for questions, and anybody after the board has a chance to look at it, happy to take any questions from anybody else who's joined us on this meeting. Anybody want to start kicking off? Jonathan, why don't you go ahead?
Thank you, Chair. I have a question just for my own education, Larry. And we look on the drawing on the right where it says biofiltration soil. There's like 2 feet of media there. Could you just give me a rough rundown of the composition of that soil? Again, it's just curiosity.
Yeah, I'm fumbling with my computer right now. Oh, good. Okay, I got it. Let me see. I was a little distracted trying to get my computer working.
It's okay. I'll
Would
repeat
you,
the question.
thank you.
I was just curious about the composition, of the biofiltration soil noted in your drawing, that 2 feet of biofiltration. Can you give me a sense of the relative ratios of sand, silt, and clay? Give me a sense of what that's like.
Yeah, Ben, do you have the specs on that you can provide? I can tell you what my experience is,
Yeah.
is that you want to maintain permeability, and you want a growing medium on the top. So there's, for lack of a better word, there's topsoil on top of that,
Right.
and which supports the plants. And a lot of people call it topsoil, but that's a very active. If you look at it as a medium, there's a lot of microbes, and there's a lot of processes going on in that topsoil that clean up the stormwater runoff, plant uptake of nutrients, et cetera, et cetera. So that's a thinner layer, and then the biofiltration soil media below is a material that is permeable enough to allow water to move through it, but at a slow rate, so that it's cleaned and purified as it moves through that medium.
Right. Right.
Ben, do you have more details on that, perhaps?
I'm having difficulty hearing Ben if he's speaking. I'm sorry to
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
Larry, I don't know, your office, Ben's office? What? No, I'm only kidding.
Yeah,
I'm not going to throw a stone right now because I'll be the next one off the internet.
I feel like it's in the news that there have been problems with the internet today.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Larry, would it be fair to say, excuse me, Mr. Chair, would it be
Please go.
fair to say that this is a product that's produced in a, in a control situation in a plant somewhere that passes some specification provided by the state, and therefore we can call it a biofiltration soil media?
Correct. It's analogous. You've probably heard the term structural soil as a planting medium for street trees. And it's the exact same thing, that when you plant a street tree in a well, the composition of the soil is critical to the survival of the tree.
Mhm.
So this is a material that has been designed to meet all of those criteria, allow biofiltration, but also allow infiltration.
Yeah.
So that's a good summary, Ken.
Thanks.
Thank you.
If would it be helpful, Jonathan, if at some point between we get a quick description by email or something? Would that help you?
Sure. I just want to make sure you understand. I'm not contesting this in any way. Again, it's
Yeah.
truly curiosity here. And,
Okay.
and thank you. It's education and curiosity. But so this is great. Thank you.
You know what's interesting is when we met with Mr. Wetzel and the town engineer, they have considerable.
Oh, shoot.
We lost you, Mr. Beals.
Yeah.
I think we just lost Mr. Beals for a period of time.
Patience.
Yep. There he is. Larry, we lost you at the word considerable. You were saying the DPW has considerable, and we lost you after that word.
Considerable experience with what we're proposing here. They've done it in other locations.
Thank
Okay.
you.
They've constructed rain gardens within the town of Ayer. And
Yeah.
you're saying that they're familiar with that process because they've built their own rain gardens. They did one at the dog park, I believe, and maybe
Yeah.
a couple other places.
And the curb inlet is a product that they're familiar with as well as a
Okay.
pre-treatment device.
Yeah. And I'm going to ask, and I'm sure this has been taken care of, but any O&M that needs to come with this will be included.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I did have a question related to the maintenance.
Please.
So, Larry, this rain garden is a swell. It's a depression, and it will collect. I assume it's going to collect debris. This is going to be, as we can see in the definitive plan. It's a tree-lined roads. Is there 10 and 20-year maintenance of just breakdown of leaves and natural debris that would begin to fill this in that we would need to address?
Yes, but it would be addressed on a much more frequent basis. It gets addressed, almost on a weekly basis. These are, you think about these rain gardens, they're in the center of the cul-de-sac. And there is a homeowners association, which is responsible for this subdivision. And that will be one of the maintenance responsibilities, is that as debris, if debris builds up in there, leaves or even trash may blow in there, it gets removed. And one of the big pluses for these types of systems, in my view, is that if they stop working, it's very obvious. If you drive around that cul-de-sac and you see water that's not infiltrating into the ground, then you know that you have a system that needs to be examined and corrected so that the infiltration is restored. But I would imagine that these rain gardens will be raked on a very frequent basis. Debris will be removed from them by the landscapers as they maintain the rest of the subdivision.
And I will say my experience with landscaping is, since these are going to be turfed, they get a little more attention than just a rain garden that has chips in it, because the wrong wood chips get put in and things like that happen in the other one. So this is the lesser of two evils in the way of rain garden swales in my eyes. I'd like to see, I'd like to see the homeowners association figure out how to make it into a beautiful pollinator garden, but that's a lot of maintenance that they would have to agree to.
Yeah.
I think this is the better way to go.
Right. Mr. Chair?
Yes, Mr. Krantz.
Is it premature to ask where the snow is going to go?
Never premature to ask in New England where the snow is going to go. I believe the DPW asked for those comments, Mr. Beals.
Yeah, yeah, that is one of their comments.
So Ben, do you want to put up one of the site plans?
I believe I saw this on one of the plans, at least some tentative information before, but I do appreciate, by the way, the comment of not sending out lots of sets of plans. I appreciate, because they become quite cumbersome to figure out.
Yeah, our goal is to reach a final set of plans that then become the control documents for the board, for the contractor, for the town as it moves into the future. So it's a good process.
Yep.
And I'm sympathetic to a DPW director that gets bombarded with small revisions through multiple sets.
I'll be honest with you, I'm sympathetic to the person doing the work who has to stop and start again.
Right.
No one wins in that situation.
Right. So, this would be plowed by a normal, the way you would plow any other cul-de-sac, and snow is pushed to the side, to the shoulders of the roadway. And then one of our thoughts is on that easement, if there's too much snow, it would be a way of pushing the snow down that easement and getting it off the roadway. And then the final alternative is, if too much snow builds up in the roadway, it gets hauled out. And then, again, this is a homeowners association, and we would not be looking for the town to haul the snow away. That would be the responsibility. Ben, did I get everything, or is there anything else you want to add? I think Ben may be having some communication problems as well.
Either that or it's a strategy, one or the other.
Unfortunately, we're just not that clever.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Well, we are going to respond to the DPW as well. And
Thank you.
And so anything that I've neglected that Ben has not been able to add will be in that letter back to the DPW.
According to comment number 4 that they had, that this came up, if you don't mind, it says your response already was snow storage locations have been shown on the proposed site layout and materials plan.
Yeah.
So maybe you've already worked on it.
We have. I just don't know. I don't know if it's on this plan that we're looking at right now.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. Other questions from the board?
I got a couple of things.
Please.
So I guess the the letter that Mr. Beal spoke about, that where they responded to the DPW comments, was dated June 4th. We got a copy of it. It's like 11 pages. So I congratulate them on that, the work they put into that and the responses. Do we have a method, do we need to recognize that as being part of the record at this point in time, Mr. Chair?
Now, don't have the documents in front of me, unfortunately, but I'm going to ask I'm going to respond this way. At this point, Mr. Beals, I believe, just said that they are going to respond to that document. Have you already responded?
Yes.
Well, we wrote a letter back to the DPW and copied the board,
Yep.
but it's not a definitive response. We're
Okay.
saying that we agree with the comments and we're in the process of revising the plans accordingly.
Yeah. So I think the answer to the question, Mr. Diskin, if I may be so bold, is to say that we need to wait a little bit of time for them to get that final. Remember, we're not asking for iterations of plans. They have no argument with the DPW, so they're going to incorporate the DPW's requests into the next set of plans. And if I think I can quote Mr. Beals from earlier in the meeting, with the expectation that they'll be bringing forth a definitive set for us to act on soon.
Okay, so we'll just figure that this is goes in the file at town hall, but we don't have to worry about it at the moment. Other than that, I guess.
Okay.
Well, and just the way we view it is when we send a letter to the board or copy the board, we assume that becomes part of the public hearing record.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. I was
Yes.
just looking for someone to say
Absolutely.
that.
Yep.
Okay, great. You said you had a couple things, Mr. Diskin?
Yeah. So the last meeting, Larry, I asked if you were going to, and I'm not sure it was covered. I don't think it was covered up in the DPW stuff. But I think I asked for you to provide a detail on the walking trails of some sort when you get to the final set.
Yes.
So you acknowledge you will do something along those lines.
It's interesting.
Not just to talk about it, but to actually show us what might happen. That's what I'm getting.
Yeah. So we did some research on that, and we looked into standards for trails. And unfortunately, I logged on to standards put out by the federal government under the National Park Service. And so I thought, well, these are pretty good standards. We opened up the document. It was over 150 pages.
Yeah.
And to build a path through the woods. And then we did some looking on Audubon's. And as Ben and I talked about it, we want to be very lightly treading on that land, given the rare and endangered species habitat. And so our intent, and we'll express this on the plan, is to leave the ground surface as is. And then, if there's a sapling or brush that is in the way of the path, we would simply flush cut it with grade so it's not a tripping hazard. And what we would propose is to do as little work down there as possible, not because we're trying to avoid work, but because we're trying to maintain that natural surface, so that when we're done, it looks like an animal path or a Indian path through the woods. That's our goal.
Okay, thanks.
But I think you're right that we need to specify that so that somebody doesn't think, oh, well, we need to put a path and you wind up with a mile of stone dust.
Correct.
So we need to provide some clarity on that.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
I appreciate it. I'm going to make a comment if I may. I have experience with these paths and seen them become great issues for both homeowners associations and the person who put it in place. And I might ask you to think about, it's nice to do all the site work at the beginning and then build the houses. But in situations where the path has been constructed during the site work, the time it takes to build the houses, the path is regrown.
Exactly.
So you might think about sequencing on that. And that is, because what's going to keep the path a path is use. And unless you hire a lot of guys to walk around on it randomly, you're not going to get the path to meet the needs I think you want. That's all. And that's just a suggestion. I've been through that where they want to pave it because it was never kept, and it just turns out it was done during site development, 18 months before the first resident moved in based on issues they had. So, 18
Okay.
months is a half-inch sapling,
Yep,
18
you're
to
right.
20 inches high. So it's just, that's an experience I'm offering for you. That's all.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you. Other questions from members of the board? We've got some folks who are in the audience who may want to ask.
I got a couple more.
Oh, go ahead, please, Ken.
So on the common driveway discussion that we had, again, I request that you'd have, check the subdivision regs and put a cross section of the construction of the two common driveways that are shown here, well, the ones that are longer. Where so we'll know that they are the 20-foot minimum width and they have the certain subgrade and the materials and finish that's called for in our regulations. I don't know if I don't think they covered that anywhere, but
Yeah, we are adding that detail. After you made that comment, we went back and double checked to make sure there was a spec in the town's rules, and there is, exactly as you said. So we're going to add that to the plan just for the clarity.
okay, cool. Later on, when I got a couple of things on the conservation restriction. I'll wait for that to come up.
Okay,
Okay.
great. If there's nothing else from the board at this point, I'd like to ask anybody in the audience who's joined us if they have any questions for the proponent.
Jeff, if you may, I just wanted to.
Oh yeah, I was
bring
looking
up-
down, Mark. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Just wanted to bring up one issue. I'm not sure we'll resolve it all tonight, but one of the key items in the DPW's letter
Yep.
Dated May 20th was a sort of a re-looking at the site distance question, the stopping site distance along Washington Street.
Right.
And, Superintendent Wetzel asked, I think, very specific questions about how the data was collected. Basically, we want to make sure that, that will truly be a safe intersection of that subdivision road with Washington Street. So I just wanted to ask the applicant if they started to address the DPW's questions on the site distance assessment.
Yeah, the short answer is that Ken Cram, the traffic engineer, put together a response to the DPW with the information that he was seeking.
Great.
Thank you.
If you could send that to us anytime, that would be, great.
Is that
Okay.
is that the part, Mr. Beals, that's at the very end of your response to the
Yes.
DPW's letter? There is a couple pages there.
Yes.
Yes,
It's by Kenneth Cram.
And it's got a sketch and
yeah, it was in the responses.
Okay, good.
You have the information.
excuse
Thank
me,
you.
So it was in the information with the response.
Thank you.
that's from Joe.
Jeff, I have one more question.
Yes, please, Nathan.
Larry, on the topic of trees, first, I'll start with what I really appreciate, which is the last page of your plan showing a bit of a boulevard look with the trees lining the driveway. I think that's important to show, and maybe you can include that in the PowerPoint if we do this again. The question I have is, we did specify marking, I think, all of the 24-inch trees, which you've done. And I was wondering if it'd be appropriate to have a table of, trees that will be preserved and trees that will not, just so we can see kind of what the ratio is as and what you expect this development will yield.
Yeah, we have them on the plan, and we've given that a lot of thought. And you raise a really good point that we've analyzed. And I will say this as an overview. We're working within an open space residential development. So, the goal of that zoning, I believe, as the town promulgated it, was to allow a project like this to shrink lot sizes in exchange for creating open space in perpetuity. So, it's an interesting dynamic because as you shrink the lot sizes, it becomes much more difficult to save as many trees because it's a smaller lot. You have a house, a driveway, a yard around it. But the way we look at this development is that, yes, it's important to save some of the trees within the development area, but in effect, we've preserved, I think, 11.15 acres of open space. And, some of that is wetland area that just by it, it'll be preserved in perpetuity because it's a wetland. But if you deduct out the easements and look at what is really true open space, it's about 8.56 acres is forested. And so I was trying to figure out, so how many trees is that? And I really didn't want to go out and count every tree on the site to get a population for that forest. But I think what's significant is we're preserving a forest, and as a mass, a forest functions a lot better when all the trees are side by side, and that's the way a forest is intended to function. So I looked at the U.S. Forest Service, and they've done some analysis of New England forests, and they say in a typical forest in New England, the trees that are 5 inches or greater generally are at a ratio of about 202 per acre. So, so in that preserved open space, we have potentially 1,730 trees over 5 inches. And then they say in that same acre of typical New England forest, you have 12 standing dead trees, which have a value for wildlife species and habitat. And then the amazing statistic I came up with is that with seedlings and saplings within that acre, there are over 4,600. So if you add that all up, a typical forest would have a total of 4,816 trees per acre of the greater than 5 inches, the 12 standing dead, and then all the seedlings and saplings. So when you do that math, if you multiply the 4,800 by 8.5 acres of forested area, that tells you that there's over 41,225 trees in the open space that's protected in perpetuity. And that number surprised me, but I suppose we could go out and count it and verify it. But I think so I was really wrestling with what are we going to do about preserving trees within the lots? And I was coming to the conclusion that, well, the open space residential development has really worked quite well because we've created that, 11 acres of open space where we're not just protecting trees, we're protecting a forest, which is a system, and essentially provides perhaps a greater good than protecting an individual tree. So I know that's a very long response to your question, but I know, and we're happy to debate which trees we can save and which we can't, but we've given it a lot of thought. We think that I think we've accomplished the mission of protecting the forest, and we're sacrificing perhaps a few trees. Ben, do you have the images, the air photos that we have?
If I may just clarify my question, I do appreciate all that, Larry. And you're right. That's the purpose of the open space. I think it would be good. I'm not looking for a specific ratio to be preserved within the developed area, but we did make it a condition of the preliminary to go out and measure those 24-inch trees. So I think it would be appropriate to have a table that says, this is how many, the quantity that we found, and this is the quantity that will be preserved, or this is the quantity that will be removed, right? And is it 50%? Is it 80%? I think we could have long discussions about debating that, but I think it's most just to take advantage of the fact that we measured and identified these, and to summarize that somehow.
Okay, I know we collected all the information. I think we already have it in a tabular format, but we can add that to the plans. I may have responded with too much information, but we've given it a lot of thought over the past couple of weeks, and we really analyzed it about, is this a good project or are we cutting corners on some things? So we'll provide the information that you've requested.
Thank you, Mr. Beals. I think Mr. Krantz has a question that may be a follow-up or
Yeah,
a comment.
I think there are a couple of issues in play, Larry. I think you're absolutely right when you talk about in terms of habitat, carbon sequester, all those issues. You're right. It's about the forest, not individual trees. But there is a different issue. And I also recognize too that given our desire that each of these homes be solar ready, large trees can be contradictory to that goal, and that's going to be a sac. And I get that. So when I'm thinking of, I know we're not going to be able to keep all those 24-inch trees. I get that. That's a given. But if some, 2 or 3, what a difference it makes. Because I just think aesthetically, when I see a subdivision where it's been graded to ground and you put the house up, it just looks so barren and so not New England. You know, just even a few large trees can change the feel and the temper of a place and make it so much more welcoming and give it a sense of this is this place, not just, you know, this isn't New Jersey moved here. This is a place in New England. It has that kind of quality. So so I just want to be sure that, you know, that you're not misunderstanding our intent. I think we get what you're saying about forest versus the development, but I think aesthetically too, you know, it is part of our thinking too, is that we have ultimately, we end at something that feels appropriate to our town and our location. We're asking as a consideration, if it's possible, you know, if to save a few, that would still be a good thing. That's what we're looking at.
Okay, I understand the comment completely. And frankly, I agree with you. I grew up in New Jersey, and the last thing I want to do is perpetuate that image.
I was going to apologize to everyone from New Jersey and the whole world for that comment.
There is
hey,
no apology necessary.
I think we said typical tract development and gotten away with it. Okay, but thank you. Yeah, and I appreciate the sentiment, Mr. King and Mr. Krantz. I really do. I'm thinking about, you know, you guys know I go buy houses slowly on a bicycle. I know when I'm in a development. I know when I'm in a development that was thought out and trees were left behind. Je ne sais quoi. There's a thing about it that makes it so, to me, nicer. That's, you know. So anyway, Nathan, yeah.
Can we
I want to make sure Nathan's okay with this question.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. King. He's all set. Mr. Diskin, yes.
I'd like to give Mr. Levine a chance to comment on that. I think he probably has a thought that is positive, and I'd like to give him a shot at it.
Please do, Mr. Levine, if you'd like.
Thank you, Mr. Just cut into what the reality is, and I've learned the hard way over the years of building houses where, you know, we've tried hard to save a tree. And then by the time you dig a foundation and you hit a root structure, or you're going up and the branches are hitting the house, you got to wind up calling the tree guy back. So I think let's just be upfront here. Looking at the plan, you know, anything in the front of the houses is going to be tough, just because based on the comments, we reduce the size of the lots. You got a driveway, you got underground utilities. Mm-hmm. Guys got to get in and work. These are not 4-acre lots. So that's just going to be close to impossible. When it comes to the back, we can see what's possible. Definitely up in the by the A&Rs, maybe between the two to give spacing. We can try and see what there is. No guarantees, but you know, that's just to be upfront. Anything in the, you know, from the street out to the front of the house, these are 12,000 square foot lots. It just isn't. There's only so much stuff you got to run here. When it comes to the backyards, you know, we've looked at it. There could be some stuff with no guarantees that, yeah, don't get me wrong. If it's a nice, beautiful tree, it helps sell a house. I'm not going to take it. You know what I mean? I'm not going to take it just to take it. But so the reality is really when we're talking backyards, health of the tree, things like that. Yeah, it's definitely possible and practical, but anything in the front, width of these lots, it's just don't bet. It's not going to happen. It's just, by the time I've done it, you move heaven and earth. And by the time you run a water line and a sewer line, you've destroyed the whole root structure, and you know the tree's not going to make it. So I think that's just the reality. We've been asked to condense everything in, so we packed it in to give the open space. So there's only so much we can fit. So, Mr. Diskin, I appreciate the opportunity to speak frank about it, but I think that's what it is. So when we get to the back, we can look and identify or stuff in between. don't give like, the best, sometimes it might drop on a lot line, kind of like a natural fence, great. But sometimes it just ain't gonna happen.
Could you,
know what I mean?
I could ask Mr. Beals to,
Hmm.
I have run into this situation myself. Could we just ask you and Mr. Levine to entertain the idea of putting a detail on the drawings that would show when a tree can be saved, where there may be a requirement to build a small, let's say, stone retaining wall, a grading change. Just show one detail, that's a look in somewhere. It says a typical detail when preserving, a tree that can be saved, not spelling out which tree it is, but so an effort is there to at least, install a retaining system or stone perimeter or grading change, whatever. So you're not just leveling the whole thing if there's a good chance to save a tree. That's all I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Not in the front.
Yeah, I mean, again, when it comes to the back, the reality is if you can save it, sometimes you clear out some dead trees. Like Larry said, there's a lot of dead standing stuff. Sometimes you clear it out, it gets some sunlight, and then you say the best thing to save this tree is just leave it alone.
Leave it alone.
That's
Okay.
near it. You don't need to futz with it. You know what I mean? Sometimes the more you're touching it, the worse you're making it. So sometimes by clearing some stuff out, you're like, you know what, this tree's going to make it. It's 30, 35 feet away from the house. It's not going to, no branches are going to encroach. It's going to be fine.
I think we're trying to make an effort to get it beyond what's on the drawings and get it through to Joe, which I'm sure he's already got it. And then from Joe to a site contractor. So the guy just isn't arbitrarily just, taking a free rein at everything. That's, I think.
If it gives the board any comfort, I'm there. So I never hand the plans and say, call me when it's done. I'm kind of there every day. So.
And I'm going to jump in here because there was a handoff done a few years ago, and they went right into a riparian river zone to the edge of the property.
Ooh.
And that person had to go back in and plant, which also, I mean, yes, there's expense, but it also comes with the damage involved in replanting.
Yeah.
So
we're
we're a little concerned. We're a little, I wouldn't say gun shy, but we get the details done right now. I think we're probably going to be okay.
Larry and I can come up with something. We can come up.
Appreciate it. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
Do we have any other questions from members of the board at this point? If not, I'd like to open it to any people who are in the audience who might like to ask a question. I see movement on my screen. Please speak. Oh, Jess, there you are.
Yeah, hello.
Hi. Just so you know that in my meetings, I can't see everybody. So if you got something to say, just speak up. I can hear you.
Yeah, no, I
Okay.
had my video turned
Yep.
off, so I wasn't using bandwidth. No, I just wanted, I missed the very beginning of the meeting, but I just wanted to, was mentioned that the total open space, if you deduct out the easements, would be 8.56 acres.
Oh,
Is that correct?
no.
I think let's, Mr. Beals, you want to touch that?
So the total open space is,
Excuse me. Yeah, I was going to say, why don't you pull up the slide also, so we're all talking about the same thing? And I'm going to shrink my screen so I can see the slide. So if someone has a comment, please speak up.
okay, good.
Thank you.
So, and I've switched back to my computer now. I'm hoping my audio is, I'm assuming you can hear me. So as this plan illustrates, the preserved open space is 11.15 acres. And that's what's encircled with the solid blue line and the cross hatching. So anything within that blue line or that it has a diagonal line through it is open space, 11.15 acres, and it's open space forever. But there are some easements that go into that for drainage purposes, and there's a power easement that goes through it, and the power easement is cleared. It has lots of saplings and
Right.
seedlings in it, but we didn't think, so we wanted to take that out of our calculations because the power easement's not a typical New England forest. So that's why we based our tree count calculations on 8.56 acres. And that's 8.56 acres of forest.
Okay, so that's not counting the power line easement.
No,
Okay, and then I just wanted just clarification on how much of the open space will be used by the drainage easement.
the proposed, so if you look at the bottom of this slide, the proposed easement area is 22,831 square feet, which is 2.5% of the total lot area.
Okay,
So the remaining open space exclusive, the easement area is open space, but if you deduct it out, then the remaining open space is 52.5.
And excuse me for a second, Ben, if you're there, could you go to the slide that shows the drainage? And Jess, I'm asking for this because we went through this and I don't think you were in the meeting. So this
Right.
might be helpful. This is a visual of the drainage. And I think I'm not going to speak for Mr. Beals, or Larry, jump in and tell me if I'm wrong. But if I understand the conversation we're having right now, it is that long vertical pond right there and the triangular pond up top that are encroaching, that are in the NHISP area, Jess?
okay.
And am I correct, Larry, in thinking about that?
You're correct.
Yeah. Is that helpful, Jess?
Yeah, no, I'm not so much concerned with the natural heritage areas, just that we do have at least a minimum of the 50% that is not touched, of the open space that is not touched by stormwater infrastructure.
Yeah, and again, I think the conversation about the pond that runs east-west on the north side of the property,
Yeah.
that long, last time I saw the plans, I couldn't find that. It's
Yeah.
referred to as Pond 2. So yeah, I just, and that does encroach onto the easement.
Okay, but it doesn't take up, it doesn't reduce that 50% minimum open space.
No, we remain above it by
Okay,
2.5%.
okay. All right, that was my question.
And just to amplify it a bit, one of the reasons we like that design is because it sets a real boundary to the subdivision. Because that's essentially a drainage system. There's an easement. It has to be maintained in perpetuity, so that anybody living to the south of that drainage easement knows exactly where their rear property line is. Because once they cross their property line, they're in the drainage swale, that long, thin detention area that we're infiltrating the stormwater runoff in. So it's sort of a dual function. One is it's a barrier, and secondly, it's a stormwater management system.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else have any questions at this point in the audience? I don't see anybody. If you do, please speak up. Any further comments from the board members on this item at this point?
Yeah, I got a thought. Thanks for putting that slide back up, Mr. Beals. And I know Mr. Levine's going to love this, so I want to let him in on it. Can you blow that up again, that long linear, not pond, but detention area? To me, this represents a perfect situation for a line of trees that could be planted anew on the north side of that to create even a better looking forest in the future, potentially, It's part of the landscaping plan. Either on either side,
Yep.
actually, you could put one on the house side, or you could put one on the other side, or just alternate them, a couple of different varieties. It might create a nice new color landscape situation with new trees. So I'll leave that up to you guys to decide, but looks like a perfect opportunity to add a few trees right there, rather than just
Yep.
along the street.
And I may make the comment that as deer tolerant as possible.
Yeah, that's
Right.
definitely possible. Me and Larry can discuss that.
Thank you.
Yeah, not a
And-
problem. Not a problem.
Yeah,
Might be-
Mr. Chair, that would also help the situation of people, either purposefully or inadvertently dumping, lawn debris into the stormwater basin, which would
Yep.
be
Yeah,
very
well, that was
counterproductive.
I already had plans to do some kind of a barrier at
Okay.
the
Oh, okay.
property line. I don't know which form it was going to take, either boulders or split or a planting, but I was going to have some barrier, not something too hard, but something to demarcate one from the other. So yeah, I was already planning on that.
No, thank you. Yeah, it's one of those things. If you put the trees on the housing side, they can hide stuff behind them in the swale.
Mhm.
If you put the trees on the other side, they may think it's their space and fill it in because it may be an opportunity for pest insects to breed.
But again, I had
But-
a tentative plan of some kind of a barrier, basically at the back of the property line,
Yeah.
to just stop. You know what I mean? This is the end of it. Don't dump said clippings, kind of a thing. So yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. I mean, it's a cat and mouse game. We do what we think. We could make a suggestion we think is a winner. Someone's going to find a way to do what they want. All the people who complained about rail trails going in their backyard now have a free dumping space, and they're happy that it's there. Cycling rail trails. I kid you not. We see it all the time.
Yeah.
So, that low spot that was keeping their property dry is now full of stuff, and their property is not dry anymore. It has a way of, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. It doesn't take long. So thank you. And I do think it's a good idea, Mr. Diskin, that some sort of visual happen out there. Some sort of.
One other facet to that is, one of the things I noticed when we were out measuring all the trees is it's pretty homogeneous. The big trees are either oak, maple, or ash, and white pine. And I don't think we want to plant white pine, but it's a good opportunity to introduce some diversity. And so we'll give some thought to maybe some trees that we can put in there to enhance the forest.
Okay.
And there's one other thing that I forgot to say at the beginning, because I was so flummoxed by my cell phone and the lack of the internet, is that tentatively Joe has selected a couple of road names that were recommended by the town clerk. And we'd like you to consider Gaskins Drive, Gaskins Drive, and Briggs Circle, Briggs with 2 G's. And our understanding through the clerk is that those are important people to the community of Ayer. So
I will say on behalf of the board, and we refer to her as a town clerk, but she's actually a resident also, Susan Copeland. I think it's a slippery slope if the world thinks that she has the ability as the clerk to make us do stuff. And I'm just being honest, but I do appreciate those recommended names. I will ask the board if they have any comments on it at all. It's a little bit outside of our purview to name streets. Mr. Krantz?
Yeah, I share some of your reservations, Chair, and my preference is that this remain really a conversation between the applicant and concerned citizens. I also think it's a slippery slope if we exceed our own authorization to begin getting into issues that really don't legally concern us. And I just want to tread carefully and cautiously.
Yeah. So if I may paraphrase, we're open to whatever suggestions you guys have.
great. Okay, good.
Is that fair for everybody? I'm seeing shakings of heads. Yeah, I
Yes,
think that's the best way to put it.
Enemy.
I hate the fact that when it doesn't have an address, it becomes 0, and we worked on 20 Washington Streets at one point. I preferred calling it Panther Place because it was easier to keep straight. So no, I'm perfectly fine with those, and I think she sent a letter. Her contact information is there. I think that would be the way to go.
Good, thank you.
And I'm sure Mark Archambault is happy to help with that if there's a problem or an issue. Thanks. Any other further questions or comments about the plan?
Did we, I noticed that we covered most of the issues that Mark suggested for us in his staff briefing memo of June the 3rd. I think that something we didn't talk about streetlights. Is that something we just want to defer to later with the DPW comments and deal with that at that time?
We're adding them to the plan.
Okay.
Yeah, the answer is we have to deal with them, but it's kind of hard to do it without them on a plan.
Fantastic.
To be honest with you, I think that's putting the cart before the horse.
Okay,
Other
fair
things,
enough.
you know,
Yep.
And I would ask, looking forward to our next meeting, which is going to be 22nd. Do you expect to come back then, or what's your expectation, Mr. Beals, for our planning purposes?
It's not my expectations, it's Joe's expectation. So,
Poor Joe, man. You haven't seen these buses. They're coming at you from all directions.
the next
But
couple
go
of-
ahead.
I'd love to take a couple of weeks off, but that's just not an option. What we are busy working on the plans right now.
Okay.
And our goal is to wrap that up this week and get that final set back to the DPW and the town engineer end of this week, early next week. And because they're fairly simple changes, not to discount his comments, his review should be fairly efficient. So
Yeah, and we're discovering that as long as we keep them in the loop, we can actually rely on them without making their lives even more miserable than your proponents making your life, Mr. Beals. So yeah, we'll keep it in train then, I think. The sooner you can get them to us, the
Right.
sooner we can work on them. We do have a situation where we close, Fridays are off, weekends are closed. So we'll do our best. How's that for you?
good. Good.
Thanks. Any other comments from anybody?
Do we
Mr.
want to go
Chairman?
through oh, excuse me.
I'm sorry, Mr. Para?
I was just gonna ask, when is your subsequent meeting to June?
It's
Okay.
every 2 weeks. So 22nd is today. And then I don't have my real calendar with me. So anybody know it
Oh, yeah.
offhand?
Today is the 8th. The next meeting is the 22nd.
And then after that, it'll be the 12th of July. No, the 5th of July.
Will you be holding that?
Don't know. That's a good
It would
question.
be July 13th, I believe. Let me check my
I'm
calendar.
sorry. I'm looking at a calendar that is synced up with my folks in Italy I'm working with right now, and they have a different calendarings. No, it's crazy. They do horizontal, not vertical. I have to relearn some. I'm working for a new touring company, and everything is in Italian and it's horizontal. Yeah. So to answer your question, it'll be 2 weeks after the 22nd, and I'm going to have to ask you to look at a calendar. I don't have my thing in front of me.
The second Tuesday.
Second
Yeah,
Tuesday,
yeah, so yeah, July 13th is the first meeting in July.
that would make sense.
Yep. But our next meeting, of course, is the 22nd of
So-
June. And is Heather still in here? I might let her.
Of course I am.
I was going to ask you to spring the big news about the meeting locations.
Yeah, after tonight, our next planning board meeting will be in person.
Wow.
No more Zoom meetings after the 15th.
Wow.
Unless the Massachusetts legislature, acts on the governor's request to allow towns to transition into full meetings. But because that has not occurred yet, we had to make a decision this week. So at least the next meeting will be in person.
Yeah. So are you all aware that the governor asked to extend the Zoom meetings until September, but the legislature hasn't acted upon it yet? I guess we are where we are. So we may actually see each other in person in a couple of weeks, because June 15th is the turnover date for us all.
So just to follow up on the July 13, I think that's the meeting at which we would aim to wrap this up. And so I guess my question is, after June 22nd, if the DPW is satisfied and the planning board's comments have been, fully responded to, what would be the process for drafting up a decision for the board? Which is to say, we're happy to do it if it assists the board, but I don't know how you typically.
Oh, no, we typically write up the decisions based on the deliberation and the findings and any conditions of approval. So we do have both documents, the conservation restriction and the homeowners association are at our town council. They're still reviewing those, and my understanding too is that the conservation restriction document will be reviewed by the Conservation Commission here this Thursday evening.
That's right.
So, yeah,
yeah,
they have input into that. And then the final versions of those, well, actually of the CR, will go to our town council to review and get any final comments. But I don't see, yeah, by July 13th, we definitely would be able to, I think, act on this plan, certainly.
And to answer your question, Attorney Parra, I have the same sentiment. I think July 13th is probably a reasonable expectation at this point. And I want to thank you for sending over the homeowners documents to me. And I really enjoyed reading them. I had one comment, I think I passed it on. If not, I will make sure it gets passed on very quickly, but it's not a large comment. It just has to do based on the source document is a little bit different than this OSRD. But I think it's honestly not a problem at all. I just off the top of my head, I can't remember what it was, and it's sitting on my desk for 200 miles away. So I will pass that along when I get back to town, and I apologize for that.
No, thank you very much. And based on Larry's work and in the interim since we drafted the CR, I know there are already going to be some changes to reflect, for example, the piping from the rain garden to the drainage pond, which is not accounted for in the CR at this point. So got a little bit of work to do on those.
Okay, thank you very much. So,
I have one thing.
yes,
on
go
the-
ahead, Mr. Diskin, please.
Alex, I got a couple of things on the CI. You may have already got them. It's an Exhibit A, nothing in the language until you get to Exhibit A. And in that portion, it still refers to curly circle under the right-of-way section.
Okay.
And I think there's a section in there that's not needed, which is the access easement, which also is referring to curly circle, 2 lots in curly circle. So you might want to take a look at that.
No, we left the Exhibit A's pretty much, well, not pretty much, completely unfinished while waiting for the final plan,
Okay.
both as the title and description. So
And
yeah, I appreciate that.
There was a note in Exhibit A as well. This again, could maybe just me being wrong, but in each instance you referred to the, the conservation restriction plan, but then all of a sudden one of them indicates that it's the open space residential plan. So I don't know if they were all supposed to be referring to the same plan.
Well, there's going to be, there should be actually two plans.
Okay.
And the part of the description for the OS will be to the OSRD plan, because there needs to be a right to, in the public, to get to that access strip.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
In the non-restricted land. So we kind of need both plans.
Thank you. Anything else, Mr. Diskin?
I'm good with that.
Okay, I think Jessica Gino has something to say because she just popped up on my screen.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Jess.
While you're editing the conservation restriction, you might note in the very, very first paragraph, it refers to the size of the CR as 5.45 acres.
Yeah, we fixed that already.
Okay, so that
Yeah.
is good. And that number, what is that number replaced by?
11.15.
11.15. Okay, thank you.
No, thank you very much. I'm encouraged that we're actually down in the weeds and doing the details, guys, because as Mr. Beal said, and Mr. Levine has, you got a plan that we've all put together. Everyone wins. And we end up with a great project. Do we have anything else on this topic for this evening? I don't think so. I think we need a continuation, Mr. Krantz, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we continue the public hearing for the definitive subdivision, the stormwater management permit.
Jonathan, may I request you make 3 separate motions because there are 3 different items and we need to keep them separate, especially when it comes to closing everything out. So if you don't mind.
Okay. Thank you, Heather. I make a motion for continued public hearing for the definitive subdivision for Panther Place, Washington Street.
Second,
Second one, Mr. Diskin. Thank you, Mr. Krantz. Any discussion amongst the board? Hearing none. Mr. King, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Krantz, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Diskin?
aye,
Chair votes aye. Thank you. Mr. Krantz?
I make a motion that we continue the public hearing for the stormwater management permit for Washington Street, Panther Place.
Do we have a second, please?
second.
Thank you for seconding, Mr. Diskin.
Any discussion?
Sorry,
Any discussion?
I'm going to ask that. Is there any discussion amongst the board members?
Oh, I thought you were going to ask for the vote right away. Sorry.
No. Do we have any
Um,
discussion, Mr.
yeah.
Diskin?
Yeah, there is a little, I just would like to see the applicant at the next meeting when to specifically address the requirements of this section, rather than just the general subdivision discussion we've been having, to emphasize the stormwater management permit section in the next meeting.
Do you understand the request, Mr. Beals? Mr. Levine?
I think I do. So you would like us to go into
So we-
greater detail?
Yeah, we have three different particulars that we're providing permits for, the subdivision, the stormwater, and the clearing. So we've talked all about the subdivision and the OSRD. I think we need more specific discussion of that. I know you did it in a general way, but referring to the permit as part of the discussion. Saying, this information is provided as required under that regulation or that permit requirement.
Thank you. I know exactly what you mean.
Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you
You
very
have your
much.
criteria for approval and we need to address those.
Thank you very much. So, okay, great. Any further discussion on this item? Hearing none. Mr. King, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Krantz, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Diskin?
Aye,
And the chair votes aye. Thank you very much. So, Mr. Krantz, could we get a third motion from you, please?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion for continued site plan review, air zoning bylaw, section 9.6, land clearing and grading for Washington Street, Panther Place.
Thank you. May I have a second? Thanks. Thank you, Mr. Krantz, seconded by Mr. Diskin. Any further discussion on this item?
Mr.
As you
Chair,
can ima-
I'm sorry, yes, Mr. Para?
somebody remind me, but I believe there's a section in your bylaw that requires a decision on this within a set period of time.
What was it again? Didn't hear it.
There was Mr. Para, would you please repeat yourself?
Yeah, somebody needs to remind me, but I believe there's a provision in your bylaw that requires a decision on this within a set period of time. And my only point is that in that case, we would obviously, grant an extension on that as well, so that you don't have to bifurcate the decisions.
I thank you very much. I appreciate that. I don't know, Mark, if you have the dates in front of you, but if it's okay with you, Attorney Para and Mr. Levine and Mr. Beals, we will look into that and make sure and accomplish that by email, which is our tradition, which is
Yeah,
our,
we'll
not our
double
tradition.
check all the
Yeah.
dates.
No, thank you very much. Any other further discussion? Ken, I think you had something?
The same exact comment as I made for the other one, now requiring it for the site plan approval.
Thank you. I started to laugh because I thought you were going to say the same exact comment as Attorney Para. And I was thinking, oh no, two great minds don't think that much alike. You guys can take that any way you want, but thank you.
I think we
Yes.
found out why Alex gets the big bucks right there.
That's right. Is that clear, Mr. Beals?
Yes.
Okay, great. Just so, I don't mean to be pedantic about that, but we're all kind of getting to the goal line. Let's get there.
Yeah, no,
A huge amount of work has been done on this project. So thank you very much. Hearing that, no, any other discussion from the board? Hearing none, Mr. King, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Krantz?
Aye.
Mr. Diskin, your vote?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank
I'm
you.
gonna give you the bums rush out of the room because we got more work to do. And I'm on a tight rope. Thanks, guys.
Good evening.
thanks.
Yep.
Bye.
Next on our list is town planner update and announcements. I guess Heather pulled you, Mark, you're on mute. I guess Heather pulled the rug out under you on our next meeting,
Right.
huh?
Well, I wanted her to, since she was the first to learn about that. Yeah, basically, we have to get ready for our in-person meetings on the 22nd. As far as masking and social distancing, Robert and Carly are developing guidelines for all that. So we'll share that with everybody as soon as we have them.
Thank you.
My only other update is that this Thursday, we will be having another meeting of the OSRD working group where we're looking at developing design guidelines and regulations that can address some of the gray areas that we've had to deal with in several subdivisions, as well as to give a little bit more guidance as to what we'd like to see in a subdivision. So we'll be reconvening on Thursday about that.
Mhm.
And yeah, that's really the big thing right now, and keeping things going.
Great. I appreciate that. And as some of you members know, I was approached by a resident who wanted to be join the meetings, and that request has been withdrawn by the resident. Really, but what happened is before we even got to the point where it was appropriate or not appropriate, spent some time discussing with the resident access to information, how to get things, how to get information that they want, and made myself available, and other people on the board are willing to, I would hope that other people would be willing to help out in that situation. And the resident is actually quite comfortable moving forward with that approach. And that is sometimes what we do looks like, let's put it this way, not everybody understands zoning and bylaws at the level we have to. So it sometimes looks like magic, or it looks like we're doing something. Then, so I just offered to work with them to understand the process, work with Mark's office, and try and get the information out as clearly as we can. So, and it's funny, I am less than ambivalent about going from Zoom to open meetings.
I want to comment on that too.
Yeah, I if I may, and you may follow me. I think we've had better and more robust meetings and better participation from residents when the access is non-physical. Mr. Diskin, your comments?
I want to be very clear with the dictates that we receive for this.
Mhm.
And the reason I say that is because I observed the select board meeting the other night that they sat in the conference room, but they had masks on, and it was very difficult, if not impossible, to understand the mumbling. So if we have to sit there with masks on, I would feel comfortable better on Zoom, where I know I can hear everybody clearly, than muffling across the room, especially for the video. So just my own personal thought.
No,
I'm
I
sure others are
appreciate,
thinking of it, so.
I appreciate that. And I also watched, I actually had to make a presentation in that meeting.
Yep.
But I watched the beginning of the meeting, and it's wonderful to see what Brian Gill has done. Our new chief of police our future chief of police has done in this town. But you couldn't hear a word
Exactly.
of what was being said about his accomplishments and his career. And, you know, the reason we do this in public meeting is so that it gets into the record. And that kind of fell apart. Also, I will say one thing, Ken, because I was listening to the meeting, somebody in the room muted the microphones at an inopportune moment. They realized it, but it wasn't the speaker. So a portion of it that was just gone from audio was because a mute button was hit.
Right. Well, they were trying to do something difficult, which I think was combining both Zoom
Yeah.
recording and live all at the same time.
It was freaky. It was hard for being a presenter in that meeting too. I'm sorry, Cindy.
Somebody did mute that right at a very terrible time.
Yeah.
And what we're going to do in that room is we're going to mic the back of the room and add a few more microphones. But the only thing I can add to what you're saying is if the legislator does approve a hybrid sort of meeting, the board members will have to meet in person, and it would just be for the public participation remotely. So that's what I learned.
Thank you. May I ask a clarifying question on that? Can a board member attend remotely?
No,
No.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Good. I'm thinking of the permutations we may be, but that's okay. I appreciate it. Okay. Thanks, Cindy. Back to administrative announcements. We've got, I have apologized. I should have added this in the beginning. Oh no, Mark talked about it, MRPC rep. So we actually have 4 items: board reorganization. We need to appoint an MRPC rep and an alternative. That's the Montechusett Regional Planning Council. Old and new business. And I have spoken about this in the opening. Ms. Murray can't be here this evening, and she is quite comfortable that we can do a board reorganization without her being in the room. So here we are, guys.
I nominate Jeff Tillotson as chairman.
You need a second, Ken.
I second that. Well, look, wait. Let's just lay it all out.
Please do.
What's going on, man?
I thought it was easy.
Yeah, I mean, so I cannot lie. I enjoyed being the chair. I enjoy being the chair. I was appointed to the planning board 6 years ago, 6+ years ago. And at the time, I don't think there was a lot of faith in the town. We've done a whole lot. We've got a good, strong board. I do not want to continue to be the chair for a long period going forward. We do have a couple of items that are coming up, and we still have an unresolved item that one of the members lives near and is involved in as a resident. So, I am happy to serve, but not forever. And if it's until we have another election for whatever reason, we can choose that. It's typically done traditionally after the annual elections. And we tried it over the years, but just because of the way the board has grown and become the board, and because of issues that residents, neighbors have with issues, I don't call it issues, but because of one of our, Ayer Solar 2 is not done yet. Mr. Disk, there's a conflict possibly for Mr. Diskin. He could not run meetings because he would have to recuse himself. When that goes a shovel in the ground and it's finished finally, because it's out of the hands of the town, when that's done, that's one of the things. Mr. Diskin has, I think, told some of us face to face, he's quite comfortable in the role he has right now. And that's it. I mean, I cracked up when Ken said, I nominate Jeff Tillotson. It looks like the easiest way out. I'm open for comments. I'm open to discuss this. We've got a good, strong board. I think I've said to every single one of you, anybody can do this as a chair. And I think we work very well as a team.
And it sounds like, excuse me.
Yes, please.
That we can have this discussion and change this vote sort of on request, right? It doesn't have to wait for a town election.
It's my understanding that out of tradition is done on a town election. I do not know the actual ins and outs of it. But I have been on boards before where, someone's had to step down. They've had to have an election. We went through this with the planning board before. A member stepped down and never responded to a phone call. A planning board member is elected by the population, not an appointed member. There's no way to remove that person. So we had to wait. So go ahead.
I don't think maybe I wasn't clear. I think the question is, how do we reorganize, right? And I don't think there's a trigger that says we must reorganize at a certain date or time.
I apologize. I just went down the same rat hole, the same avenue that the earlier response to your question about trees went. I gave you too much information. I believe that is true, Mr. King. We can decide to do it at any time.
Great.
We'd like not to do it every week because nothing will get done, but okay. So given that,
I think Jeff has done a good job as chairman. And I like the fact that Jeff has initiated more contact with Town Hall. And I think that's a goal that we all would like to have, and working well with Mark and Heather. So we need to just, I'd like to maintain that situation with Jeff representing us in that capacity. And as Jeff mentioned, if I were to be considered for chairman, I would look at it seriously in about a year, something like that.
Jeff,
Yes, sir.
would you consider hanging in there with the codicil, the understanding that any point where you're overwhelmed, we recognize that you have the right to raise your hand and say, we gotta redo this. Would you accept that?
Yeah, I would accept that. And what's really is, as you all know, I have recently accepted really a position I've wanted my entire life. My vocation and avocation line up. It also includes travel. For now, it'll be only Northeast travel. I've just looked at the schedule for and I will be available for, it looks like almost all the meetings this summer, except 1 or 2 between now and October. So I have thought about that, Mr. Krantz, does it fit what I'm currently doing?
Right, exactly.
The Zoom piece is going to be a thing, but then again, if you remove Zoom and the pandemic from the picture, there are times when 3 people have to meet. Vacations, graduations, whatever the reason being. So if the ability to serve on the board is impaired or impacted by my new employment situation, should it turn into a real live long-term thing, as every member of the board would have to do, look hard at it and see where the trade-off is. And I would be honest with you all when that starts to happen. And I would hope that you would all be honest with me that you feel that my attention is elsewhere. And Ken, I appreciate your words about what's happened with the board, but I will repeat myself over and over and over again. Every single member of this board takes it very seriously, is very engaged in what's going on, and has a vision, and our visions differ about what's happening in the town of Ayer. And we're going to be looking at some pretty tough projects coming up. Actually, I didn't want to do the tough projects that are in front of us. And then I realized over the weekend, I'm really looking forward to some of these tough projects.
Yeah.
Because we got an opportunity to do some great stuff here. And we've got some bylaws we've rewritten and all this stuff's in place. So I would, if there was a second, I wouldn't fight against being a chair for the next year.
Yeah, I definitely second that nomination. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Of course.
Any further discussion? Usually we get discussion after we have a nomination, a second. So with that being said, this is a really strange thing. Mr. King, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Krantz, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Diskin, how do you vote?
Aye.
I don't know if I vote aye or not, but I will abstain at this point, but the vote will be clear. Thank you. Do we have a nomination? I would like to nominate Ken Diskin to remain as the vice chair of the planning board.
Seconded.
Any further, moved and seconded, any discussion? Hearing none. Mr. King, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Krantz, how do you vote?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Mr. Diskin, how do you vote?
I guess
It's
I-
weird, isn't it?
I
Huh?
abstain.
Thank you. And I gotta say, I want to change Ken's role to MVP, but I don't think that's an acceptable position here in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. We have the role of clerk. And do we have any nominations for clerk?
I'll nominate Mr. Jonathan Krantz as clerk of the planning board, town of Ayer.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. King. Any further discussion on this? Hearing none. Mr. King, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Diskin, how do you vote?
Aye.
Thank you. Chair votes aye. Mr. Krantz, how do you vote?
I vote aye. Thank you. Thank you.
There you go. Excellent. So I appreciate that. This is like the hardest thing in the world to do. And we've done a great job. We really have. And I think we've won back, or we're winning back the support of the town, the bylaws we've done and the work we're doing. So thank you very, very much. Old business, and I'm going to check the time. It's about 7:50. So let's see if we can get done in about 10 minutes, gentlemen, and get the rest of our night off. Old business, do we have anything?
Jeff, we
Yes,
forgot
please.
MRPC.
Yeah, I
the
did,
Monticello Regional
but
Planning.
I wrote it down under old business. Okay, so
Okay.
MRPC.
Never mind.
So no, that's fine. Let's take our MRPC first. Thank you for reminding me, Mark. So it is a requirement that the town of Ayer have a appointee from the planning board and an alternate to the Massachusetts Regional Planning Commission. I believe they meet, is it Mark quarterly or monthly now?
They meet once a month typically. And
They meet and
usually, back before the pandemic, it was in person. And I went to a few of those. Usually they're in the early evening, 7 to 8:30 sort of thing. And it's over in Leominster at the Doyle Center. Though recently they have been meeting on Zoom, and I've gone to a few of those. I'm not sure. I just went to their website real quick to see what their policy was. They didn't announce anything, so I'm not sure when they're going to switch to in-person meetings, but we can get that information.
And so the role of the Massachusetts Regional, if I may, every state or commonwealth in the United States has MPOs, okay? And the MPOs break down into geographic areas inside of their, metropolitan planning organizations. They then break down into geographic areas, which are more or less the same as our counties, not exactly. They're set up economically. So like we're in Middlesex County, but we're not in the MAPC, we're in the MRPC because we seem to look more towards Fitchburg economically to the MPOs. So the MRPC is a Massachusetts Regional Planning Council, and they offer a huge amount of support. Things we've done in the past with them are, I'm blanking on it. Oh, they helped with the wetlands bylaw work. They're working the advocacy work I'm doing for vulnerable road users. Non-vehicle MRPC is doing technical data work for us. So they have grant money that's constantly available. I know Alan Minoyan's been able to get grant money through them for economic development. The Mark Wetzel's been very successful in getting grant money for specific small projects through them. They continuously have grant cycles. The reason for a planning board member to be there is to understand what's available to us and to the town and how we can give Mark more work on an ongoing basis to improve our zoning. So not going to the meetings doesn't hurt us, it just doesn't benefit the town. And I would recommend, they ask for two, by their law, by the rules, they ask for two people. And so worst case, if you like it, you go to them all, otherwise an alternate and a board member would pass it off back and forth. I will also tell you that I work with MRPC pretty closely on other projects, and I'm willing to be one of those two, but I know I can't attend every evening meeting in a year. Mr. Krantz, you're putting your finger up?
I'm volunteering, yeah, so
Okay.
if someone would like, if they're of a mind to nominate me, I will not turn it down. I would.
Okay. Nathan and Ken don't want to cut you out of the conversation, but.
How long is the appointment?
Again, I think it's as long as we want. Let's put it this way. We have not had a regular attendee there. No one's going to show up and put us in MRPC in MPO jail. We are only missing opportunities ourselves. And I'll tell you right now, I get their emails all the time. And so when you walk into the meeting or attend the meeting, you know what's going on. Once you kind of get in the loop and read the once every 2 weeks email from them, you know what's going on. And quite honestly, Mark will tell you, I've called him on the phone and said, why aren't we going after this? And I don't want to put you on the spot, Mark, but sometimes MRPC isn't real good about getting the information out. The cycle changes. Each one of the MPOs has a different funding cycle. And when you work with different ones, it's a challenge. So that's why we want to have a member. We also share with the other members of the council what we're doing for planning here in Ayer. And it's a help for regional planning, not just on Mark's shoulders to talk about stuff when planner from Fitchburg calls about OSRD. we get to share what we're doing too. So it's kind of like a professional organization with benefits, to be honest. That's how I see it. So with that being said, I think Mr. Krantz and I know Ken, so if it's okay, so I guess the motion is to make Mr. Tillotson and Mr. Krantz the appointees for the MRPC.
Who is the prime?
Mr. Krantz will be the primary.
Okay, and you'll
Yeah,
be,
That's my motion.
excuse me? I'll make a motion to appoint Jonathan Krantz as the primary representative of the planning board to the Montechusett Regional Planning Commission.
I'll second that. Any discussion? Hearing none. Mr. King, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Diskin, how do you vote?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. And Mr. Krantz, how do you vote?
Aye.
Thank you. Do we need another motion for the alternate?
I make a motion to appoint Jeff Tillotson as the alternate to the MRPC.
Seconded.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Krantz. Any further discussion?
Yes.
Mr. Diskin?
So I failed to include the discussion initially on the first appointment, but I'll include it now. And that is that I would have an expectation that we would have a piece on our monthly meetings of somewhere along the line. Let's say every other meeting, we would have a piece there under new business or old business that we'd receive a summary report from the representative of MRPC back to the planning board.
I find that 100% acceptable and appropriate. Any other discussion from members of the board? I saw shakings of heads, yes, so I'm going to assume that means there aren't flies in the room, but that we're okay with it. Thank you, Mr. Diskin. So hearing that, Mr. Krantz, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Diskin?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. More work. Thank you. Under new business. Yes, I'm sorry.
You or Mark just send me information that I'll need just to be in communication to MRPC so I can introduce myself as the representative and be on their email list, et cetera.
Yeah,
Yes,
actually,
yeah.
I was going to ask about that, Mark, because they have an online form that has to be filled out.
Yeah,
I think
I
Mark-
will fill that out. And,
Yeah.
and I will put Jonathan in touch with the director there and the assistant director.
Who's the director?
I went to college with the assistant director.
What's the director's name? Do you know offhand?
Uh,
So
you asked
I'm
me,
gonna-
I can
It's
picture
okay.
him.
It's
you know,
okay.
it just went out of my head, but
so
I
Jonathan,
know John Hume, the assistant director.
Yeah. So what's going to happen, Jonathan, is depending on what part of the MRPC has the grant money at the time, you're going to be surprised how many people work there. If you go to MRPC's website and just start digging through, you're going to be, oh my gosh, I want to be involved. Quite honestly, I work with a couple of people on a fairly regular basis who are involved in cartography and grant writing for the Neshoba Regional Greenway stuff we're doing. And they're great people and they're engaged. And if you did the citizen preparedness stuff with us, or if you've done anything else that has happened at the DPW about Ayer's plannings moving forward, there's always been MRPC representatives in the room, but they're economists, there's lots of disciplines are involved. So you'll find out it's a pretty interesting place and they're great people.
I have one tiny comment.
Go ahead.
For Jonathan's benefit. So I did a lot of GIS work, looking at different projects in town. And through that, I talked to the GIS people over there, and you may or may not be aware that that's who maintains the GIS for the town of Ayer. So we contract through them. So in essence, MRPC represents the region, our region of the state. So the state backbone of the GIS from the state ends up going through MRPC back to the town of Ayer. They're kind of the intermediary for all this tremendous amount of knowledge that we need for any number of projects that we look at. And they're a resource for questions, which I think, now that I think of it, we should probably be asking them more questions. So
Yeah.
I think it's going to be great to have Jonathan involved.
We're going to wonder how we got along without them, to be honest with you. And as a matter of fact, Ken's called me when he's been over at the Doyle Center doing research on certain projects. It's a fascinating place. It's pretty
It's a great place.
And I'm going to also say one other thing. I typically tend, because I'm now doing stuff that's with MAPC and MRPC. And MAPC's website is real flashy and right up to speed and does a better job of explaining what a metropolitan regional
MPO
policy group
or
is.
Regional Planning
Yeah,
Commission.
a regional
Yeah.
planning commission does. So I would recommend MAPC. I think it's I forget. Google it. You'll get there.
In fact, I just emailed Jonathan the link to their website.
Good.
So,
But MAPC does a better job of explaining what they do, and MRPC does the exact same thing. But the MAPC website just a little more, as the MRPC website hadn't been updated as recently as the MAPC. Also, the cartography section of MAP is for walking trails.
Yeah.
There's 1,400 miles of walking trails. You won't believe it. The presentation I did to the selectmen, I will send to you, and it has the links in it. So that you can check out what's going on there. It's a phenomenal resource. It really is.
Right.
So I appreciate you stepping up. I really do. Now I bet you I can't get you to not go to meetings. So old business. I have one item. Communication with the town of Harvard regarding the town line. I still don't have a satisfactory answer from our town management about how to take that on. And I'm just going to leave it there. The project is going, if you've all seen, the project is taking place over there. I do want to get that tied up into a bow, but you can't, we're dancing alone at the party right now. We can't find somebody to dance with us on the other side, if I can say it that way. Other old business that people might have? Hearing none under new business. Anybody have anything coming up? I want to talk about a couple things. Mark, you got anything coming down the pipeline?
not that I haven't already talked about, so go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. The elephant in the room, Stratton Place.
Hill.
There's been a lot of work going on with Stratton Place.
Yeah.
Stratton Place is the loop road that is adjacent to the Sandy Pond off of Wright Road, and that's heating up. I have a feeling we're going to get a definitive plan to start with. I don't believe they're going to come to us with a preliminary.
That
I
is
don't know when,
correct. Yeah.
I don't know when that's going to happen. I do not know when that's going to happen, but
How about today?
I'm sorry?
How about today?
Did it get delivered? Was it delivered today?
It was actually delivered last week. I just started sending it out
but
today.
it's big and I'm still going through the checklist for that. It's going to take me a while.
Okay.
But
So
yeah, I told them, and I'll tell you, everybody here, that they were agreeable to start the public hearing on July 13th, for which I thank them profusely because, we're trying to get rid of, deal with the other subdivision and all the other cases we have. So,
okay. So
Yep.
thank you very much. As soon as you can get the data out to us, please. It's going to take a while, and it's going to take, I'm sorry, be careful what you ask for, but this has been a plan. This has been a project that started and stopped once, and it now falls underneath my understanding is it falls underneath our OSRD, and it's going to be an interesting application of our OSRD. And I'm honestly excited to roll my sleeves up and jump down into it. So I will make the request. Did they drop? How many sets of plans did they drop off? Full size
So
plans?
unfortunately, I only have one extra set right now of the large
Okay.
scale plans. I have tons of the reduced size.
Okay.
Once departments start getting them back, usually a few of them will give me back the large scale.
Mhm.
I am sure I can request more of them, but they are about, oh God, I want to say at least 20 pages.
Okay.
So,
Well, thank you. Did they?
But
Did they?
then if anyone wants to come in and get a reduced size plus a copy of the application, that I have. The large scale size, that might take a while to get.
No, that's great. I would like to look up. I mean, I'm not a Luddite. It's just it's easier for me to make comments on a piece of paper and look at it that way. Do they provide us with an electronic copy of it? Of the plans?
no, they did not. And that's something I have to talk.
Okay.
I'm going to prepare a letter once I go through the checklist because there are a few things I caught that they missed. so far, so I will let them know they need to get us electronic
Yeah.
copies too.
And I'll make this offer to the rest of the members of the board, and with this caveat, DPW works really hard. They got a lot going on all the time. They're very, very helpful to us. They also have a large scale plotter. I can sometimes convince them to give me a scale drawing that's submitted. I don't want to do that a lot, but there are sometimes when you're looking at the plans that you really need to look at it.
Yeah, but can I comment, Mr. Chair? As
Yes, of
Mark
course.
as Mark reviews the checklist, on the checklist, we specify the quantity count
Yeah.
of large scale plans and all the other stuff. So Mark should be able to figure that out and get us what we need.
Oh, yeah, yes. And
Yes, I agree with that. I'm chomping at the bit to start working on this project. So
Yeah, typically I give the board the reduced size. That's why I
Yeah.
don't have enough of the large scale size.
Mhm.
Because we're usually seeing it in person on a screen, and then because we did, so that's why I don't have enough of the large scale size.
Okay, well, one way or the other, I won't be back in town until later this week, so I'm not gonna do anything about it. But if we can, even a reduced size, like to make plans to get a hold of that if I can.
Yeah, town hall's open. Feel free to
yeah.
come on down, anybody, anytime.
Unfortunately, I'm a little far away to make that trip this week. Okay, well, anyway, so there's Stratton Place. And we've got other stuff going on this summer, so we're gonna be busy, but fun. Any other comments? Ken, you got anything in the new business that you're concerned about? Okay.
No, I'm good.
Mark, did I steal all of your thunder?
no,
Well, I do have-
I wasn't trying to hide the fact that we just got the plan. It's just that,
Yeah. Okay.
it's not really new quite yet until, we start, but
Thank you.
no.
I think it's very
everything's
important
fine.
that Mark takes that step to make sure everything is correct.
I think it's extremely important. I am not, in no way do I want to be looking over Mark's shoulder. It's an important administrative step that has to be taken. As we do with everything, we do our best. We treat it fairly. We follow the laws. We get opinions when we need them. We will give it a good shot. We will do a good job on it. Anything else that people might? The meeting minutes from May 25th are next on our agenda if we have no other new business.
I have an old business question. I'm sorry.
Please do.
It's new business for this meeting, but it's just a thought. And Heather or Mark can answer this. When we sign a decision, the chairman signs a decision or whatever he signs, or any documents that we sign, who records those?
The applicant records those.
Okay, do we get a copy of that recording back to your file?
I always request it. Sometimes it takes a little longer to get those, but yes, they're typically supposed to. The only thing that gets recorded would be the special permit and or the definitive subdivision, and that's just the plan, which of course I can't get a copy of the plan. But they should have a receipt for the recording. Site plans do not get recorded.
Okay, but the decisions typically that do get recorded and you request a copy of them.
The special permits, yes.
Okay. And what about the decisions for the special permit? What was the one we just did, which was a special permit, I guess.
Yeah, so one was a special permit, one was a site plan for each Catania and McDonald's.
Right.
So both goes to the clerk, both get stamped in, those, then I make copies and they distribute to whoever plus the file. But it's just the special permit that gets recorded. Site plans do not get recorded.
Okay,
Same thing with subdivision.
I understand what you're saying by law, but I think most practical people record the site plan on their own, but it's
Yeah,
not an
well,
obligation.
Yeah.
The same thing with subdivision. Subdivision decision does not get recorded. It's the Mylar that you
The drawing.
sign that gets recorded.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions, old or new? Otherwise, I think we can take on the approval of the meeting minutes for May 25th, 2021. I know Heather got a copy out to us with corrections. Have you had a chance to take a look at them? I did not get a chance to take a look at them, but I was happy with the corrections.
I looked at them. I'm okay.
Thank you.
There was just one part where there was an ambiguity in one sentence on page 2 that needed to be clarified. Heather, were you able to do that?
Was that the one where you had questions where I was missing a couple words in there?
Yeah, I was missing a verb, so I was
Yeah,
wondering.
I fixed that.
Okay, great. Then I can, if those are fixed, I can make a motion to approve the minutes for May 25th, 2021.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Mr. King, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Krantz?
Aye.
Mr. Diskin?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. The logistics of me signing that document, Heather, are going to wait until Monday. But if you send
That's
it to
fine.
me, that's fine. I can't physically get a signed document back to you before Monday, so I will make sure it.
That's fine.
It's
I'll
in the
do my
black
best to
box.
remember to send it to you.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Okay. Thank you all for, actually, I think the meeting went very well with the proponents for Panther Place, which will now be Gaskin or Briggs, or whatever they want to call it. And I just want to caution people, Susan came to us as a resident who is also a neighbor. She is a phenomenal town clerk, and but it was not in an official capacity that she came to us during that meeting. With that being said, a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Krantz. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. King.